Hey there, I am back with more games for your summer vacation, or staycation, as the case may be. This week I'm bringing you two games, very portable, very fun, and multiple player games that you can take with you wherever you happen to go. The first game this week comes with a lesson in indigenous culture, specifically the Native Americans that live around the Great Lakes and Midwestern region. To the Anishinaabe people native to the northern Great Lakes region, this symbol embodies the character of the directions north, west, south, and east, and it's complemented by Father Sky, Mother Earth, and the Life Spirit. Each of the four quarters of the medicine wheel is associated with a sacred plant, represented on the cards in the game: sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, and cedar, each of which imparts its lessons through the medicine wheel. All these symbolize health and the cycles of life and are used as a tool to teach sacred principles of the earth and all of its inhabitants. Movement in the medicine wheel game is circular, as is all of existence, cycles within cycles. This card game has as one of its central mechanisms the sowing of seeds, distribution of the cards around the table. This aspect is very much like mancala, passing out cards one at a time around the circle of players. So you can play the game for what it is, but also be aware of the deeper meaning behind the medicine wheel and what it has represented for the Midwestern peoples for many, many generations. The medicine wheel game is played with this big deck of cards here, over 100 cards with the colors and configurations that I showed you already. Okay, so I have set out here on the table before us a game for 4 players. Each player gets a hand of 4 cards. There's also 4 cards in front of each player, which is their own row, their own tableau of cards here that they're building upon. In the center is a set of 5 cards. Actually, it's dealt out so that it's one more card than there are players. In this case, 5 cards. And then the draw deck is placed out here on the table, and we need room here for a discard pile as well. The object of the game is to collect sets of 3 matching cards, or a combination of colored cards and wild cards, which are also color. And these sets of 3 are formed on these piles in front of you. And you'll notice as soon as we get playing here that your success at the game can definitely depend on the cards in front of other players as we go around. So when you get a set of 3 cards, they get set aside, and those will be scored as points at the end of the game. So each turn consists of the following steps. All of them are optional. You can do them in any order you'd like for your turn, but they can only be done once. The first step is to play a card to the tableau. Now, I have a white card here, and I have 2 white cards in my hand. I can play a white card to that point there. I also have a red card I could play to the red card to try to build that set of 3. I also have a wild card here, which I could play to the tableau. And I can do that during my turn, or I don't have to if I don't want to. I believe I will. So that's 2. I want to keep them splayed like that so that other players can see what cards I have here. Now, a second action for this part of your turn is that you can pick up a card from your tableau. I can't just take this black card and put it over here. That would not be a step that's available to me, but I could pick it up and put it in my hand, and then next time around, as part of that first turn, I can place it here. Now, this leaves a void in my row of 4. That is still a position, and that position will get filled with a card later on. Sometimes later in the game, you got no cards in front of you at all, but those 4 make-believe positions are still there to be filled. So keep that in mind as you play, that these 4 positions are available. Now, the third thing I could do if I had a green card, here's one over here that my neighbor's got, is that green card can be discounted, and then I can pick any card out of this resource selection here in the center of the table. and add that to my hand. And then, as mentioned, the final thing that you can do in this step is to place one of the blue cards that you might have in your hand or in your tableau and just place it into your score pile. So once that is completed, we come to the second part of your turn, and that's called the sowing of seeds. And in this case, you look at the cards on the table, the cards in your hand. You can pick up as many cards from the reserve, from the resources, into your hand and combine them with other cards you might have in your hand, and then play those to the table in a mancala style of seeding the cards around the table. So in this case, we've got 3 yellow cards on the table. It doesn't really do me any good to do this, but I'm going to do it as a demonstration. I can pick up all 3 of those, any number of matching cards. I could pick up just 1 if I wanted to. Add them to cards from my hand. I don't have any yellow, so I'm not going to add anything to this. And then I take these 3 cards and I seed them around the table to the other players. I give player number 2 this. If that card can be added to the tableau in a matching position, it must be. If not, it goes into their hand. So then the next player gets it. I hand them that. They put that in there. I hand this to this player. He puts it right there. And that's the sowing part of my turn. And so now I have 4 cards in my hand, so my hand is complete. And I'm done. If I had less than 4 cards in my hand for some reason, I would draw from the draw pile here to create a hand of 4 again. And the final thing that happens on my turn is that we replenish the collection of resources in the center of the table. It's always going to be the same number of cards. Okay. Now, player number 2. Let's see what's in our hand over here. All right, we have a yellow card. So as part of the first phase of my turn, I place that in my tableau. That creates a set of 3, and so that set of 3 goes into my score pile. I could pick up a card from the tableau, but that doesn't really have any value at this point in time. What I think I will do is I'm going to play the green card, which allows me to pick up this blue one. The blue one is a +2 card, and so the last thing I'll do in that phase of my turn is lay that down over here to my score pile, and that gets me 2 points at the end of the game. Don't see a reason right now to do any seeding, so I will just call that the end of my turn and pick a card from the deck to complete my hand. And as I said, the last thing we do is replenish. Ooh, another 2-pointer. All right, so player over here. Some interesting choices. I can play a card to tableau. So I think I'm going to play the wild card to the tableau. So that gets me a point. I am going to not pick up any cards. I'm not going to play any other first phase options for this turn. And then I will do some seeding. So I will pick up this yellow from the resources, add to it the 2 yellows that I have in my hand, and proceed to sow these cards around the table. I sow 1 to this player, who must place it to the tableau, which creates a set of 3, and then I can claim those 3. I can take this one over here, goes in the tableau, and this one here goes in the tableau. So I gained a point from that process. Not a bad thing. And so for the last part of the turn here, I draw cards to get my hand back up to 4. Pretty nice hand. And we replenish the resources in the center of the table. These seem like a lot of complex steps here, but the game comes with these player aid cards so that you can keep track of the steps you've done. And it's great for learning specifically, but once you get in the rhythm of the game, it goes pretty quick. I'll take just one more turn here and we'll see what happens. Oh my goodness, look at this. This isn't going to do me a lot of good on this one turn, but I can place a black card here. I'll pick up the white card here. Not gonna sow anything. Oh, I could. No, I can't. Just not here. All right. I think I'm done. I think that's my whole turn right there. So one more note about cards. The green cards, if a green card shows up in the resources, it just stays there for the rest of the game. Everybody has fewer resources that they can choose from. Now, it's possible to play a green card from your hand and pick up a green card from the resources, which would leave a void there that you can fill back in later to build up the resources available. So this process of playing cards to your set in front of you and sowing the cards around the table to gain points goes on until nobody can play anymore. And by that I mean you'll get down to a point where maybe there's no resources left on the board that you can take. Maybe there's just one or two cards in your hand, the draw deck is gone, but you still have cards you can play. You follow the same rules and go around the table. If you can't play, you pass. And then finally, when all four players say, that's it, I can't play anymore, then the game is done, and you count your points. In this case right now, I've got 2 points over here. This player right here has 3 points because they have the blue card in their score pile. This player has 3 points. This player has 1. We've got quite a few cards left in the deck there to go. Scores will get up into the double digits eventually. And so that's the game of Medicine Wheel, the cycles of life and circular nature of the universe represented here in this little game. I find it to be very interesting the way that you interact with the other players around the game, and you be working on your own plan over here and somebody can foil that plan. But at the same time, something will be revealed on the next card draw that allows you to pick up a bunch of points around the table you didn't expect. Very interesting balance between strategy and tactics, I think. So 2 more summer games for you to consider here. A card game based on the Medicine Wheel, and we have Spectra, which is based on cubes and claiming spaces and some NIM-like logic. So take these with you on your vacation. Very easy to pack, obviously. They fit really great in our NewVenture game pouch, so check that out on the site. And try out these games. Definitely give me your comments below. I'm always interested to know what you think of the games. And of course, the links to buy them are right here in the show notes as well. So thanks for tuning in again. Whether you play these games or some other game while you're on vacation, away from home, or on that staycation sitting there in your own dining room, be sure to play every day.